And now, the general weather around Alaska.
Welcome to Alaska Weather. I'm meteorologist Peter Chant, coming to you from the National Weather Service on this Monday, November 13th, 2023. And if you'd like additional weather information on top of this broadcast over YouTube, you can go to weather.gov. That is the National Weather Service's online presence. It'll bring you a map to the continental U.S. You point and click anywhere on this map, and it will give you a local forecast with any relevant watches, warnings, or advisories for that particular location. And on the weather map this Monday afternoon, very little going on weather-wise across the lower 48. There are a couple of red flag warnings, northeast Wyoming into northeast Colorado. But that's about it of any significant weather. In fact, all of the significant weather is happening up here in Alaska. It's been a very stormy period since the middle of last week. Anchorage picked up nearly another 9 inches of snowfall late last night through this morning. The November snowfall total at Ted Stevens International Airport now has gone over 38 inches. We just need 0.7 of an inch more of snowfall to break the all-time November snowfall record, which is very likely since we're not even to the middle of the month. Other areas, including the Mat-Su Valley, also picked up some locally heavier snowfall late last night and through the morning. But there is another storm system we'll be keeping an eye on here Wednesday into Thursday. Some more heavy snow is possible across areas of the western interior. And the Fairbanks Forecast Office has just issued some winter storm watches in anticipation of that. Light to moderate snowfalls expected across south central with this next system, but it's not going to be as impactful as the past two. And then it will likely turn colder across much of the mainland, first the west side Friday, and then overspreading much of the state here this weekend. So after all this hefty snowfall in many areas, it's going to be turning a bit colder. Looking at a few of the FAA webcams, Point Hope, cloudy and breezy, temperature nudged up to 30 degrees. Warmer air has made it all the way up there along the Chukchi Sea coastline. And yesterday, these areas were getting hurricane force wind gusts, 60s, even as high as 85-mile-an-hour wind gust at Cape Lisburne. But things are not quite as windy there. And then Shaktoolik there in the eastern Norton Sound, breezy, 32, still a coastal flood advisory is in effect for the potential of water levels to run 2 to as much as 4 to 5 feet above normal high tide, but conditions will be improving by the time we get into early tomorrow morning. Anchorage, skies cleared out early this afternoon after the morning dump of snow, digging out again, temperature early afternoon 27 degrees. And then Thompson Pass, blizzard conditions early this afternoon, and there is a blizzard warning for Thompson Pass that remains in effect until 9 p.m. this Monday evening. So a quick check of what's going on in terms of advisories, warnings, watches. There is the blizzard warning until 9 p.m. for Thompson Pass there just east of Valdez. The Fairbanks area has a winter weather advisory in effect. It'll stay in effect till 9 p.m. with some areas mainly light accumulating snow, but that'll be definitely winding down shortly. And then we have a high surf advisories from just east of Utqiagvik down along the Chukchi Sea coast to the north side of the Seward Peninsula until 6 a.m. Tuesday morning. And then coastal flood advisories from the Bering Strait down through Nome and then all along Norton Sound to the lower Yukon Delta, including St. Lawrence Island. And that advisory is in effect until 6 a.m. Tuesday as well. And again, wind and waves and the wind and wave action will be coming down, so that'll be an improvement by early morning. A winter storm warning is still in effect for the western portion of the Brooks Range, south-facing slopes, including the Noatak Valley and Ambler. Snow there will gradually be diminishing here as we go through later tonight. And then this area in orange outlines the next winter storm watch. There is going to be a low come up out of the lower half of the Bering Sea and then push up into Kuskokwim Bay Wednesday evening and then moving inland on Thursday. And as that happens, more heavy snow will likely fall across this area of the west central and central interior as we go, especially through Wednesday night and into the day on Thursday. There will be impacts, but the snowfall across areas of south central will be lighter than what they have been with the past couple of storms. And looking on the satellite imagery, we've had this strong low up here just southeast. The surface low is just southeast of Wrangel Island here up in the western Chukchi Sea. arcing front, occluded front cutting across now, pushing into the east side of the state with a secondary low over the north central Gulf. And then that system kind of trails out, and then we have another low way back southwest of the western Aleutians. So when I put this satellite imagery in motion, we can see that this front pushes east to along the Alcan border and bringing some additional precipitation, coastal rains to areas of the Panhandle, snow up into the intercoastal mountains. And then back here to the west, there have even been some flashes of lightning, rumbles of thunder around north and west of Nunavik Island in the wake of this system as colder air crosses the northern Bering Sea. And then here's the hint of the next low approaching the western Aleutians. So today, here's that low pressure that was associated with the snow burst that came through the Mat-Su Anchorage Bowl area. That system will weaken as it works its way east, slightly southeastward into the northern central Panhandle. This front, too, will also tend to weaken. Secondary cold front coming out of Russia. There is colder air up here, some Arctic air in this region. This front will tend to weaken and just kind of lay out, but there will be colder air being drawn down along the west side of the state later this week into the weekend once this low gets by us. So here we are late tonight, early on Tuesday morning. We have a low well west there of the western Aleutians with a warm front pushing up through the central eastern Aleutians. We have that push of colder air moving into the far northwest, and then just kind of the front washing out. And by Tuesday afternoon, we have this double barrel low that'll be coming up out of the western Aleutians into the central Bering, and this low will come on shore right in the vicinity of Kuskokwim Bay Wednesday evening into late Wednesday night. And then that's going to spread another round of heavier snowfall up in through the western and central interior. Areas along the coast may see a brief mix before everything just goes over to a breezy rain. And as the system works its way eastward, there is the potential for some additional snowfall here in south central areas, but it will not be as heavy as the past two storms, or at least that's the way things are looking right now. And by Wednesday afternoon, we have that low there just approaching Kuskokwim Bay, another occlusion pushing up into the mainland, and then another secondary low trying to form here in that favorable spot just northeast of Kodiak Island and south of the Kenai Peninsula. So we'll watch that, but I would say even within the Anchorage area, another 3 to 6 inches of snow could fall Wednesday through Friday, over that few-day period. So we're going to be adding snowfall onto a number of spots, but this is the low that's going to draw down colder air on the backside of it, first across areas of the western mainland as we go into the end of the week, and then across much of the mainland as we go through the weekend. Looking at temperatures Tuesday, generally above freezing, central southern parts of the Panhandle, a little below freezing in the north up there toward Haines, Skagway. 2 below up there, the Copper River Basin. Any clearing that occurs, temperatures are really going to fall off if Anchorage can hold on to some clearing without any low clouds, easily down into the teens. And then temperatures Tuesday afternoon will generally stay above or below freezing here across the south central interior, near freezing along the coast, and then back out here along the lower portion of the Panhandle, lower to maybe mid-40s. Same thing about 44 there at Kodiak City. And then for Wednesday morning, some single digits lows in the normal cold spots there of the Copper River Basin, but otherwise generally just above freezing here across the central southern Panhandle, below freezing there in the north as you get up there toward Chilkoot White Passes and further west along the Alaska Range. And then temperatures Wednesday afternoon may get back up a little above freezing as far north as Anchorage and up toward Palmer and Willow. And then areas along the coast could see some 40s, mid 40s or so, even down there toward Homer, maybe up with a high about 43. Now across the interior, we are seeing temperatures down near zero, Arctic Village, but otherwise teens. There's been a push of milder air come in behind that front, so it's not going to be quite as cold as it was. And as we look at high temperatures, they've modified a bit, not above freezing, but say at least 20s, upper 20s to near 30 degrees possible up along the Yukon River Valley, a bit cooler along the Arctic coast, but in the 20s. And then some colder temperatures return. We'll see some readings single digits above or below zero along the spine of the Brooks Range, North Slope, out here toward just north of the Yukon Flats, and even down near zero there possible at Northway. And then temperatures Wednesday afternoon, as that next system pushes into the southwest, we're going to see temperatures up near the freezing mark, especially from around Anvik, Imanak, down toward the south and west. And as we look at the southwest interior, lows this Tuesday morning will be in the 20s, below freezing, but lows near 40 along the Alaska Peninsula with some 50-degree readings, even mid-50s there at Dutch Harbor, 55 or so. And temperatures along the Kuskokwim, Bristol Bay coastlines there, generally in the mid-upper 30s. Wednesday morning, we'll see low temperatures maybe near or just below freezing along the southwest coast, below freezing in the 20s across the southwest interior, lower 40s down along the Alaska Peninsula, eastern central Aleutians, and then Wednesday afternoon highs. We will likely see some warmer temperatures here along the eastern Aleutians. I wouldn't doubt if a few areas are back up around 50 or so. And as that milder air pushes inland, mainly cold, breezy rain here along the immediate coastline, but as it encounters the colder air here up over the southwest interior, precipitation will transition to mainly a heavier snow. That's why those winter storm watches have been issued in advance of that system for Wednesday and Thursday. But in the meantime, as we go further ahead, I mentioned it's going to turn colder across much of the mainland for this coming weekend. Friday first along the west coast and then across much of the mainland for the weekend. Once we get beyond that, prior to Thanksgiving holiday, November 19th through the 23rd, we are expecting temperatures to average above normal, especially along the west and northwestern portion of the state from the lower Yukon Delta around Norton Sound, Seward Peninsula, up along the northwest Arctic coast to east of Utqiagvik. Coolest temperatures and below normal temperatures are most likely across the southeast interior, Wrangell, St. Elias Mountains through Yakutat down in through a good portion of the Panhandle. And then precipitation will likely average below normal here across areas of the southeast and Panhandle, but could end up above normal around Norton Sound, the Seward Peninsula, and extending up here along the west end of the Brooks Range, extending out to Pointe-a-Lay. So that's the way things are shaping up here now as we start to look past the mid-month prior to Thanksgiving.